Yeah, I spit raps like a heart attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I backed up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now, I'm gonna make you bleed out. Listen on repeat now and read out all the weak now. Get up and make a change, don't remember yesterday. If you got something to say, speak your mind before your grave, cause your life is yours to save. Ain't nobody gonna change, everybody stays the same. So be different, make a name, huh?
I keep on moving forward, always getting closer, marching till it's over, and just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer, I'm marching till it's over, just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer, marching till it's over, just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer, marching till it's over.
It's ridiculous, I'm sitting this meticulous and limitless, while others out there spitting shit got hits up on the charts and said I see why other artists quit, cause people don't reward good shit. They love to hate but hate to live. Society is swing and miss, and honestly I get it. Promise me you won't regret it. Wasting energy, forget it. Don't look back, go on and get it. Bite the bullet just a bit, bite your tongue and don't say shit. Make your actions hard to miss, be a legend not a myth. Yeah. It's obnoxious that I'm conscious, rapping honest as promise. Try to harness, as an artist stay modest. It's a long quest, I will not quit till 10,000 people going off. When I drop this I gotta make it now. Swear to God I'm breaking out, swear to God I'll take a bow. Stand the stage with the crowd, cause I got it figured out. I'm just honest and I'm loud, saying modest but I'm proud. No, I never had a doubt, yeah.
I keep on moving forward, always getting closer, I'm marching till it's over, and just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer, I'm marching till it's over, just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer, marching till it's over, just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer, marching till it's over, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer, I'm marching till it's over, and just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer, I'm marching till it's over.
And then they'll tell me later that they never thought of that before. They never thought.
Let's talk politics. Okay, I assume you guys can hear me. I'm just gonna do a quick double check to make sure, like I always do. Okay, perfect. Heck yeah. Alright, I am going up this political compass test thingy. Wait, why is it buffering now? It better be working. Oh. Okay. Wait. Testing? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Alright. I was having internet issues for like a second, I think, but I think we are back. We back. We back. And yeah, in this little one-off live stream that I have been wanting to do honestly for a tiny bit of time, I'm going to be taking the political compass test. And I decided, yeah, I will do this live stream right after uploading my brand new video out now about the third SpongeBob movie. Yeah, I know, from SpongeBob to politics. I'm not making any more political videos, but I wanted to do this little live stream. So I did do a video back in like 2023 in which I took this political compass test, but my politics have changed so much since 2023. And I believe I therefore deleted that video. I would imagine I did. I don't know why I would keep it up on YouTube because of how much my politics have changed since then. So I think it's no longer even on YouTube. But yeah, now that I am a 21-year-old and granted, therefore still not super knowledgeable about politics, I'm only 21. I do feel like I am a lot more knowledgeable about politics, and therefore my politics have changed a lot since then. You know, I don't like pay a super ton attention to politics. At least more than the average person, probably. Maybe I do. I usually watch like at least 5 or 6 videos about politics a day. I just like staying informed, knowing what's up, knowing what's new. My number one favorite political commentator currently and for the past like half year is Secular Talk on YouTube. I think he's super duper intelligent when it comes to politics, and his videos are very informative, and I like his presentation. And I'm also a fan of Tennessee Brando, and who else do I? Oh, I know he's kind of a mostly known for being a late night, comedian type guy or whatever. But Jimmy Kimmel, I am a big fan of his political segments that he does usually. Every single night of his show, he does like a segment about 5 or 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, talking about the news. And I like how he tackles it in both a intelligent way and also a pretty funny way. I think he is like the most funny late night talk show host. He's my favorite. Excluding, I don't know if his show is late night technically. I don't know when it airs on TV. I only watch it on YouTube, but I'm also a huge fan of Jon Stewart of The Daily Show. And I'm a fan of like a few other political commentators and whatnot too. But yeah, so I do watch a lot of political content, honestly. So I think I'm pretty well informed. Anyways, though, time to stop rambling and start taking this test to see what the test believes I am politically. If it thinks I am a massive, woke, liberal, like some people on YouTube over the past, like, 7 or 8 months have been calling me because of some of my content and statements. Oh, if it thinks I am, for some reason, a conservative, it's not going to say I'm a conservative. But, okay, yeah, let's see what I get as the results for this. Anyways, blah. Just a few propositions to start with concerning, no less, how you see the country and the world. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. I don't really understand, honestly, the concept of economic globalization, but I do know that transnational corporations tend to be pretty bad. So and also obviously, I think the most important thing when it comes to like economic systems or whatever is to serve humanity. So yeah, strongly agree. I'd always support my country, whether it was correct or incorrect. Strongly disagree. I think a lot of the things that my country currently is doing is pretty terrible, but I still would forever love my country. I am very patriotic. I just don't love the way that the people in charge of the country are handling being in charge, to say the very least. But I am one of those people who, like, half of my t shirts and hoodies and whatnot do have an American flag on it because, like, I'm not. I'm just gonna say right now, I'm not a conservative. But by looking at me, sometimes you might think I am, depending on what I'm wearing. If I'm wearing like one of my American flag hoodies or whatnot, I love the American flag. I love what it represents. I love not America's history because we have very problematic history, but I love the ideals that our country was founded on, being freedom and justice for all. When you really think about it, it is very woke, the ideas that the country was founded on. And I say that in a good way as a positive. Like, yeah, it's woke in a good way. Woke as a positive. Not in the way that anti woke, conservative people use it. I do think America is the best country that there is. Nothing against other countries, but I don't know, I love my country. But with that said, like currently, if my country is doing something that it shouldn't be, like committing a bunch of terrible acts in other countries, I would not support it. I would speak out against it. No one chooses a country at birth, so it's foolish to be part of it. Strongly disagree. I don't need to explain. I already explained how patriotic I am. I will strongly disagree with that. I feel like there is no such thing as a superior race. Like every race is equal. And yeah. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Strongly disagree because once the third party of your enemy that your other enemy is also enemies with, once that enemy is out of the picture, you then still got someone you should kind of worry about, you know? Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I think I would strongly disagree with that. Oh, yeah, because like if our country can defy international laws against other countries, who's to say that other countries couldn't then do it to us? You know? There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Of information and entertainment, I would say disagree. But if you were to ask the question saying there was a worrying fusion of propaganda and entertainment, then I would say definitely agree. There's so much propaganda nowadays. But honestly, I feel like propaganda is the reason why we currently have the government that we have. But now the economy, we're talking attitudes here, not the FTSE index. Okay. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. I would disagree because even people who the majority of America, I think our middle class or lower class, like a combination of the two, possibly. I don't know. But with that said, between a ton of people in said middle class, there's still a lot of like racism and bigotry and stuff like that. And if anything, being lower in the class system makes you have higher tensions amongst you and other people that you know and other people that you see. And that can, I think, in many instances, drive bigotry, racism, etc. Even like make it even worse, you know? Because like some people, if they are not doing good financially, they might start thinking, well, what groups are responsible for me not doing good financially? Is it these other people, these immigrants, these people of other ethnic backgrounds who are different than me, but are also existing in the same economy and taking up financial resources and whatnot that could be going to me? Is it because of them? And so I feel like that does kind of drive increasing, like, even more tensions between, like, races and ethnicities and whatnot. So I would say disagree. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I would say it's probably equally important, so I would say disagree. I'm not sure about that. I'm just gonna drink a tiny bit of water real quick. Inflation is definitely something that needs to be uh, taken control of, or whatever. Needs to be controlled because inflation just seems to be going up and up and up. But I know a lot of people are unemployed right now too, which isn't good. So both are very serious issues that just need to be focused on. I don't think one should be prioritized over the other because they are both very serious issues. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect their environments, they require regulation. I would say strongly agree. Most corporations do not have society's best interests in mind. They only have making more money and getting more power and influence in mind. And that goes for any type of corporation, whether it be a corporation in entertainment or whatever else. And I do think they should be regulated. Maybe not like ruthlessly, nonstop, like tons and tons of regulations, but they do need to be regulated, I think. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is fundamentally a good idea. Ability, need. I will say disagree because I do not necessarily understand that idea. The free of the market, the free of the people. I guess, I mean, it makes sense. So, yeah. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. I strongly disagree with that one. In fact, I'm drinking bottled water right now. I feel like when you are paying for bottled water, I mean, it's not like that's the only option that you have. Like, you can go, I don't know, fill up water from an ocean or like a river or something or a mountain, or even get water from your sink, your kitchen sink, and use a water filtration machine because those are very easy to get your hands on. A water filter, you can just use that if you don't want to pay for bottled water. But when you're paying for bottled water, I like to think of it as not only are you paying for the convenience of having a bottle, having it in a bottle that you can like take with you on the go, but you're also paying to. I mean, I know that like it's not a guarantee, but you are kind of paying for the promise that the water is filtered and is safe to consume. So I disagree on that. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I. Hmm. I disagree. I think a lot of land should be able to be bought and sold. I do think there should be such thing as maybe lands that is, I guess, freely provided to people who are homeless, because we have so many like empty buildings, at least in a lot of places here in America, that we could be providing as homes to homeless people. There is a homelessness issue and crisis in America, which is insane because we are supposed to be the most like successful country in on the planet. But yeah, so I disagree. I think that it's okay. I mean, like if I think it's okay for some land to be bought and sold, because if you want, say, a very nice house or something, you should be able to buy that if you have the money for it. But I think there should be some land that is freely provided to people who do need it, because it's the human thing. It's it's a thing that should be done, I think. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I do think that's very regrettable. 100%. Protectionism is something necessary in trade. I don't know what that means, so I'm going to say disagree. I don't know. The only societal responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. I strongly disagree. I think companies, one of their main responsibilities should be not doing bad things. So, yeah. The rich are too highly taxed. I feel like they could be even more highly taxed, like a lot of them, and they wouldn't even feel it. Because there's so many, like, wealthy people that, like, and also apparently they only pay, like, what, 10% or 1% of taxes or something. I don't know. A very low number, I think. And yeah, I don't know. I just think I'm not against the idea of raising taxes for the super duper wealthy. Like some people have like billions of dollars. Like they can power with a little bit more if it means lowering taxes for people who are not as wealthy, or if it means also using some of that money for good, things that our society could benefit from. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. I do agree with that, but I also think the government should provide healthcare, universal healthcare. I just think that like if you want additional super high healthcare, like special healthcare, I mean, I think you should be able to have it if you like want a different type or something. I don't know, but maybe I should say disagree. I don't know. I support universal healthcare. I think it's a very good thing. I think the healthcare system that we currently have is very broken, and yeah, government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Strongly agree. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predatory multinational to create monopolies. I strongly agree. Monopolies are not a good thing. Now, a look at some of your personal social values. Abortion, when a woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Strongly disagree. I think abortion is a human right. Our authority should be questioned. I strongly agree. Doesn't mean our authority is always bad, but if you mindlessly just go along with whatever the authority tells you and don't ever question it, that allows authority to become like, I don't know, it allows for bad stuff to possibly be created as a result, like police states or dictatorships and stuff like that, and that's not good stuff. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I don't really know much about what that means, but I did hear someone say in response to this that an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth leaves everybody blind and toothless. I don't know what that means either, but it sounds correct. So I'm gonna say disagree. Ooh, no, disagree. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Uh, hmm. Hmm. Theaters and museums. I would say agree because those are not necessities. I think taxes should go to funding stuff like schools and whatnot. Public parks are pretty good. I don't know. I'm just gonna say agree on that. I don't know. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I don't really understand that question because classroom attendance. What does that mean for people who are homeschooled? So I'm gonna say agree. I don't know. Our people have the different socio. I strongly disagree on that. I think one of the things that makes America the strongest country, um, or at least has made it the strongest country, is how America is like a place that you can, come to and get out different types of backgrounds and perspectives and ideas and influences thanks to migration and all that stuff. I strongly disagree with that. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Yeah, I guess. I don't. Eh. Depends on for what, I don't know. I don't think it's the best way to parent, but I don't know. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I agree. It's natural for people to keep secrets from everyone. Like, honestly, I feel like it's best to have secrets than to be an open book. You don't want to tell everyone everything, because, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's good to keep some stuff to yourself and think before you speak. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly agree. It scientifically, I believe, has very good positive health benefits. I'm saying that as someone who has never had it and never will, most likely. But well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe someday. I'm not against trying it someday, but I don't have any plans to try it anytime in the near future. But I don't have anything against it being legal, and I think that it's actually bad that it was illegal for as long as it's been. And I know in a lot of places it still is illegal, but at least in my state it isn't anymore, which is good. But yeah. Prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. I agree. But also to educate about other issues that are important too. But I also agree. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. I feel like that's a slippery slope. It does depend on how serious of a disability, possibly. I don't know. I don't know. Like, uh, depends. I would say disagree because that's such a slippery slope. Because, like, yeah, honestly, maybe strongly disagree. Well, okay. If someone is like super mentally ill, like maybe super schizophrenic or something, they probably shouldn't have kids. I don't know. But it is such a slippery slope because, like, who's to say with this line of thinking we won't one day, say stuff like, "Oh, people with autism shouldn't have kids" or something like that because autism bad when isn't bad. Anyway, the most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Yeah, I would say so. It's because, like, if you don't teach discipline, that leads to, in many cases, your children, I think, probably growing up to become criminals. Or at least doing bad things. There are no savage and civilized people, there are only different cultures. I disagree. I think some people can be savage, but I don't think it's a cultural thing, usually. I think it's more so just if you are someone who doesn't have a good conscience, you may be kind of savage. But not in a cultural thing. Not in a cultural way. But yeah. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. I mean, yeah, I would say that does make sense. It depends on like who would say that question though too, because like I'm able to under what standards? Because some people would say that like disability, like people on disability, like oh, if you are only on disability because of mental reasons, like mental disabilities, if it's not a physical disability, then oh you shouldn't be on disability. It's such a slippery slope. I think I would say I agree overall, but it depends on the context. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. That varies depending on who it is. I think some people cope best by addressing head on whatever it may be that's bothering them and then trying to decide and come up with solutions and reasons and like things that they can do to feel better and reasons why they feel that way and how to solve that. But I think other times, other people, it is good for them to just keep busy until eventually they feel better through doing other things. For me personally, it's best to get my mind off of stuff if I'm feeling like down about anything. But it's everyone is different. So my answer for me personally is agree, but for other people it may be disagree. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within our new country. I don't fully understand what that means. I guess I would say disagree. I don't know. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. Strongly disagree. If anything, the most successful corporations usually get to the top by doing very unethical things that are not very good. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. I strongly disagree. Okay, and how you see the wider society. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counter-terrorism. I strongly disagree. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids other arguments that this. I mean, yeah, I guess, but I would say strongly disagree. I think it's good to have different sides on the table. I don't think one side should be in control of everything. Though, I do think the current side that is currently in charge of the government should not be in charge, but that's neither here nor there. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Strongly disagree. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I honestly strongly agree, but only the most serious. I think, like, what's a good example? I think anything involving kids, like child abuse, stuff like that, that should be especially like Epstein stuff, that type of stuff. That's penalty in my opinion. But in a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. I disagree. Abstract out that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be. Strongly disagree. I'm kind of a snob when it comes to that type of stuff, honestly. I strongly disagree. I think that trippy or something is the more creative it in many instances is. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Strongly disagree. I think most criminals should be rehabilitated, excluding. I know that's probably counter to the death penalty thing, but excluding the most serious crimes, I think most criminals should be rehabilitated because if you just throw away the key and like lock it away forever for all criminals, that's just like lessening the number of people that we can have in our society that make the society better. It is a waste of time to try to. Yeah, some like the people that deserve the death penalty, but most should be rehabilitated. I think. Business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Systematically, I would say yes. If you want to make money, yeah, kind of, but it shouldn't be that way. But mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemaker. No, strongly disagree. I do think parents should be around the house to make sure that their children don't grow up without parental figures, obviously. But I think if a mother wants to have a career, she should be able to. Almost all politicians promise economic growth, but we should heed the warnings of climate science that growth is detrimental to our efforts to curb global warming. In many instances, yes. I mean, we got like half the country is on fire, like literally. So that's something we should definitely worry about, in my opinion. There are some, you don't want to go overboard with everything, but that's definitely something we gotta get on. Like, we gotta get on that, in my opinion. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Making peace with it, yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't criticize it, like, constantly, too, at the same time. If you got through that okay, you'll find these propositions on religion a breeze. Astrology accurately explains many things. Strongly agree. I don't know a lot about astrology, but I like astrology. I know that I am Pisces, and just by looking up like the characteristics of a Pisces, yeah, I think I actually do kind of match a lot of that. And I don't know, astrology is pretty cool. And I also like moon stuff and I don't know. I think it's pretty fascinating stuff. Spiritual stuff is pretty cool. You cannot be moral without being religious. I get most of my morality actually from the stuff that I was taught when I was a kid. Like about Jesus. How Jesus loved everyone. He died for all of our sins and all that stuff. But with that said, no, I don't think you have to be religious to be a good person. um, Charity is better than social security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Strongly disagree. Because I think charity is less reliable, I think. Like, I don't know, at least it should be the case that Social Security and stuff like that is very easily accessible and very reliable for people who need it. But, yeah, I don't know. Some people are naturally unlucky. Some people are born into bad circumstances, so I would say yes, but I do believe life is also whatever you make of it. So I don't think you should ever wallow in your own filth, no matter how unlucky it seems like you are. But some people do seem to also be more unlucky than others. So it is important that my child's schools instill religious values scientifically, because what values? What if you disagree with the religious values being taught at whatever school your child goes to? You know? Finally, a look at sex. That's a funny sentence. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Strongly disagree. Marriage is just a social construct, honestly. I don't know. In my opinion, at least. A same sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I strongly agree. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be illegal for the adult population. I would say I agree because, like, how do you regulate something like that? What about movies that have sex scenes? Does that count? And if we were to become a super like strict society when it comes to media and stuff, I don't think that would be a good thing. That would lead to a lot of censorship, and I am very against censorship. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. I strongly agree. As long as it is between consenting and adults. No one can feel naturally homosexual. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I would say strongly disagree because a lot of people would say that they do. So, these days, openness about sex has gone too far. Like literal sex or sex as in, like, I don't know. I'm gonna say strongly disagree. I don't know. Let's see where you stand. Okay, pretty left leaning. Kind of leaning somewhat towards libertarian, like halfway towards libertarian, I guess. And yeah, I'm not a leftist. I'm not like super to the left, but I am definitely not the opposite direction either. I am kind of center leaning, I guess. I do also think I'm pretty progressive though, especially when it comes to social issues. I am also a lot more progressive now than I was a few years ago. And for the past like year, honestly, I have become a lot more progressive, which I think is a good thing, you know? I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be it. But like, yeah, because I feel like a lot of the talking points that you get from conservatives and that side of the political spectrum is a combination of people who are uninformed and people who manipulate the uninformed with propaganda to make people scared of like progressivism and stuff like that. I don't know. I think both sides of the political spectrum can be pretty bad, but I think one side is definitely a lot worse, and that side is the side that is currently in power. And I think this coming election this year, the midterms, and then the following election in 2028, I think if you do not vote for the side that opposes the side that is currently in power, I think that's kind of foolish. I know that I'm going to be voting against the current government and current people that are in power. But that's just me. Yeah, though. This has been the Political Compass Test live stream. Very rambly. I'm overtired, which is probably why I probably sound kind of funny right now, but like funnier than usual, that is. But yeah, Cartoon Post out.